So we're going to start with radical relaxation on our backs. Okay, so I invite you to lie on your back. Oh, sorry, because this is going to be the recording afterwards. So thank you very much for coming. Lovely to see you this evening. We're going to start lying on our backs. I'm playing music in the background, and the music is just to also let you know that I'm still here, the class is still on. Okay. So lie down on your backs. You can cover yourself with your cushion. And just find a really comfortable position, making sure that your legs are apart, so you're really taking up space. Your arms are alongside your body and they don't touch. They don't touch your sides. And as you let your body sink down into the earth and become heavy, allow all the thoughts of the day to ride down the river of your exhale. And on the inhale, enter into this time between times. So the sense of felt time. But there's a notion of space, a notion of emptiness. Knowing that you're held, knowing that you're safe, and that you can let go completely to experience at the deepest level. Energetically, if you want, create a sort of bubble around you. So let the outside world be the outside world. For this time we're here together. And take this presence as a gift to yourself. And in this class we're going to look at the hormone centers, which are aligned along the spine. They correspond energetically to the chakras, or energetic vortexes as it were, that we know from the teachings of yoga. And the focus this evening is on the coccygeal body, so at the very tip of your spine, your tailbone, which consists of about 3 to 5 vertebrae which have grown together, remnants of our tail, as it were. And this coccygeal body is full of nerves and very fine capillaries which make it alive and also sensitive. And when we bring energy here, and you can do so now by visualizing possibly the very, very base of your spine. When we bring energy here, it supports our pelvic floor. It frees up our whole spine, in fact, our hips. And it allows our legs to move with agility and ease. And energetically it supports our roots into the earth. Self-love. And it also helps ground the hormonal glands that we have in the head. So bring your awareness to the base of the spine. Okay, this tiny little tailbone, which is mobile. And the movement is basically forward and back. And then connected to this are the glands in our ovaries. And which also support our movement. At an energetic level, they support creativity, unity, sense of self. And they have to do with our heels, our ankles, and also the sacrum. So I invite you to place now in this lying position, place your hand on your belly, and we're going to do a pranayama or breath practice where on the inhale, you sort of pump up the belly as high as you can, and on the exhale, you draw the belly in towards you. Okay, so it's called the bellows breath. So as if you had bellows, you were going. So it's quite a strong breath. So see if you can do that. Your hand will move up and down. After the exhale, on the pause of this breath work, draw your attention now to the lower belly and to the tailbone. So you might sense warmth being created here. Okay, we'll do it 2 more times. Okay, so we'll start together with me. So big inhale. Big inhale, release on the exhale, and bring your attention to the lower belly and the tailbone. You might feel sensations here, you might feel warmth. It might be difficult to feel anything, doesn't matter, you can still just draw your attention there. And one last time, a deep inhale together, and we continue. Deep inhale, and then exhaling, drawing the energy into this part of the body. And then gently bend your knees, roll over to your preferred side, press the upper arm, or the hand of the upper arm into the ground, and then gently come up to find a seated position. Now in Yin Yoga and during this sequence, so take all the time you need, but any transition is just important as the posture itself. And then take your blanket or your cushion just to sit on. And we're going to start off in easy pose, so cross-legged. Just make sure that your knees are below the hip crease. So you might want to sit a little bit higher. The right heel, and I'll mirror it for you, the right heel can touch the base of the body. Okay, and then draw the left foot in. Okay, so one leg in front of the other, exactly. Okay, so the tailbone, it's as if it were linked to all parts of the body, and we know that through the fascia all parts of the body are connected. In Yin Yoga we enter into this fascial realm, as it were. And to start off, to see one of these connections, we're going to take the right hand shoulder with the left hand and just squeeze it. Okay, it's just as hard as you can. So you squeeze the trapezius muscle actually on the back. You can manage to squeeze it as if it were a sponge and you were squeezing out all the water from the sponge. As hard as you can. That's it. Really squeeze. It might give you goosebumps. Okay, and you can move up and down. So whatever parts of it you can grab, you just squeeze. Okay. And then release. Okay, both hands, palms facing up, and you might notice a difference between the right and the left shoulder, and possibly also an opening in the hip on the right hand side. So by relaxing up on the shoulder, there's a noticeable difference down in the hip crease. Okay, so even if you don't feel it initially, something has happened at a physical and energetic level. And then take the right hand and do the same on the left hand side. Just give yourself a good squeeze here. And it can be really quite strong. So you can really squeeze as if you were trying to wring out the sponge of your trapezius. And then release. Stay with whatever you notice, whatever it may be. And then bring your attention down, back down to the base of the body. So we have a square here, a square made up of the pubic bone in the front, the tailbone in the back, and then you have the sit bone to your right and the sit bone to your left. It's as if it were a square that's slightly turned to become nearly a diamond shape. And in the middle of the square, the pelvic floor, the which has to do with, or is connected to, of course, to the tailbone and also to the ovaries. Just at a glandular level, so to speak. You might want to imagine this tailbone rooting down as if it were a taproot, the first root that comes out of a seed that always finds the way down into the earth. So taproot will never move up towards the light. It always anchors itself into the earth. And observe maybe also how with every inhale, the base of the body widens. It's as if your sit bones and the pubic and tailbone were moving apart. And how on every exhale, it's as if they wanted to join one another again. Okay, so no muscles involved, just a sensation of moving out and forward and back, and then drawing in. So very, very gentle movement. Our hormonal centers can be activated simply through our own visualization. So you can imagine maybe a jellyfish as it expands and then draws in. Okay, the lower belly activated as well through the breath practice. And now before we go into the first yin yoga posture, in fact we're going to do one more activation as it were. So come onto all fours. We're not going to stay here for long. Come onto all fours, and rather than having a sort of perfect all fours, keep your hands a little bit more forward. So your arms are stretching forward, the feet are flat on the ground, backs of the feet on the ground. And so imagine your tailbone here, so this wonderful tail which is sticking out towards the back. And the tailbone and its energy, it's like the energy that a dolphin would have when it jumps out of the water. That's all the energy that comes from the tailbone. So allow the tailbone to draw you forward here as if there were an arrow going through the top of your head. It brings you forward. And then you're forward here, and then it's as if a hand were placed on the top of your head, and that hand is going to draw you back, is going to push you back. So you're being pushed back, and then you draw the energy of the tailbone to propulse you forward. And then somebody's pushing you on the head, and the head brings the rest of the body back. Okay, so do this two more times or so, or a couple of more times in your own rhythm, really focusing on the forwardness comes from the tailbone, brings you forward, and then a hand is placed on the top of your head and your head is being pushed back. So it's always good to keep your eyes closed so that you can enter into this inner world of perception, which is much more vast than what we see just through the outer world. Okay, maybe just one last time. So you're being pushed forward by the energy of the tailbone, and then you're being pushed from the head, and the rest of the body follows because somebody's putting a hand on the top of your head. And then relax back into child's pose. You can place your forehead on a blanket or a cushion. Just release the forehead down. And your arms wherever they feel comfortable. We're not staying here too long, but just a little bit to allow this gentle movement practice to have its effects at a deeper level. And then very gently come back up. And we're going to take our first posture that we're going to stay in for a little bit longer. So you might need a block here. And it's called fire log pose. So it's not always the most, it's not one of the most loved poses in yin yoga. So bring your right shin. Okay, now watch your knees. You could always keep your knee supported in a way. Okay? Bring your right shin parallel to the mat. Okay? And then the left foot on top of the right knee. Also parallel. So rather than being sitting cross-legged, we have both of them parallel. Now you can always elevate your hips a little bit. Now you could, the top foot, you could bring slightly forward, it might be easier, and place it onto a block. Okay, so that's the variation I'm choosing for today. Okay. And I'm keeping the time here. So I'll just check so that we do both sides equally. And then from here, so the base of the body is really stable because that's really what we're working on. At the same time, we're working here on opening the hips and of course accessing the energetic body, the meridians, etc. And then just bow forward. Okay, so find a comfortable position. So if you're in your living room at your couch, it might even be that you lean on the couch. Okay, it'd be another option. Okay, lean forward in any way that feels comfortable. Your hands are going to support you. Keep your eyes closed. Be mindful of the lower back. So here we're accessing the meridians, the kidney meridians, which of course also have to do with pelvic floor. In some spiritual traditions, also to do with our grounding. Okay, just like the tailbone and the coccygeal body. And keep your attention, although you might feel sensations in other parts, maybe especially in your hips, maybe in your knees. Okay, no pain, but it could be uncomfortable. Keep all your attention on the base of the body. On the sit bones, the pelvic floor, perineum, and this touch you have with the earth beneath you. And although we're slightly compressing the ovaries here, try and allow your breath to move into the belly as much as possible. When we allow ourselves to drop into the stillness. Drop into the stillness of the bones. A whole new awareness can open up as your mind empties out with every out-breath. The back of your neck expands, becomes longer, the head. Now you might even notice the connection between the energetics of the head and the base of your body. So it'd be pineal gland, the head is rooted by the tail. And then very gently come back up. Very carefully stretch out your legs. Okay, so they can be apart or slightly together, it doesn't really matter at all. Bring your hands behind you, fingertips facing away, and then just sort of slump back a little bit. So your head is going to move in between your shoulders. So this posture is a posture to balance out what we just did. And then just be aware of any sensations you might have in your hips, in your legs in general, in the base of your body. And just stay here. To let the body recreate the order that it best knows how to manage. And then gently coming back, we're going to do the other side. So same procedure. This time we fold, make sure the left leg is at, the shin is at 90 degrees. And then the right leg on top of the left knee. So when you look down, it should form a sort of triangle here. And as you wish, you can also place the right foot on a block in front of you if that's easier. Okay, if you have any knee problems, then just keep the leg up. Okay, so don't force anything. And then once you've found your posture, make sure the sit bones are slightly separated, and then gently come forward. Okay, find a comfortable position for your hands, also for your back, and then in Yin Yoga we're allowed to really round the back. So once you have the position, once you have where you're going to, just allow your back to round. And I'll mind the time, so you can let yourself become heavy and just stay in this posture. Observe all the sensations. Be mindful that the lower back feels no pain, but you might feel a big stretch here as we lengthen in the lower back. You could also put your arms on a block in front of you, so whatever makes the forward fold comfortable is allowed. And your head moves down, becomes heavy. And stay with any sensation you may have. Okay, knowing, as long as it's not a sharp pain, knowing that it will go past. And if you can, keep your focus on the base of your body. On the movement, the gentle expansion, and then drawing in of the base of your body. This will help us, our focus here will help ground us in many different aspects. And it also trains the mind. It trains your mind to stay with what matters. Stay with what is always there. A sense of reassurance that the breath is always there. And then very, very gently push yourself up. Okay, take a moment first, once you're upright. Okay, just give your body time to readapt. And then, as before, stretch out your legs. Hands behind you, fingertips facing forward. And then let your head just slump here in between the shoulders. And observe any sensation in the legs and the hips, maybe even the inside of the legs. And then very gently come back. Now take your bolster. It's your bolster or a cushion. okay, or even a block. We're going to place it underneath the pelvis. So it's easiest to do. You lie on your back and then feet on the ground, lift up the pelvis and then put the bolster underneath in such a way that when you lift up your legs, now this posture could also be done against the wall, but we're not going to do it against the wall today. So when you lift up your legs, it has to feel like completely comfortable. So you might have to move your shoulders a little bit so your legs can stay up with no effort at all. Okay, so find that posture. And the legs are completely relaxed. And this will help bring blood supply, as it were, on a very physical level into the ovaries. Place both your hands here on your lower belly, so they may go all the way down to the pubic bone. Your thumbs in the navel, and then just your hands here. Thumbs in the navel, thumb tips are touching, the tips of your index fingers are touching, and the other fingers are all together. So you have this sort of little downward facing triangle. And really, really relax the legs. Allow the legs to get heavy, the knees can be slightly bent. If you notice your legs shaking a bit, just stay with it, it'll stop, or you can bend your knees a little bit further as you wish. And even though the lower belly is sort of a little bit squashed here through the legs, see if you can make your breath move in underneath your hands. So we have the tailbone that's rooting down. Okay, and now the ovaries. If you still have your ovaries or not, it doesn't really matter because energetically they're there. And if the tailbone is usually depicted as a red pulsating gland at the very bottom of the spine, okay, the ovaries have a much finer but not less powerful energy. And we could imagine them as bright, as light. And so with the inhale, you can draw in the last ray of the sun that you remember seeing. A strong ray of sunlight. And on the exhale, you can draw that sunlight in and place it into either side of your hands, approximately where the little finger is, beneath the little finger. You can imagine a little ball of sunlight. Deep inhale, drawing in the sun, and then on the exhale, allow that light to move all the way down into the lower belly. So some would even say that our ovaries and together with our womb are the Holy Grail. They are the most powerful creative centers that we know. A couple more breaths here. We'll gently come back, so bend your knees first. The transition is just as important as the pose. And now you have two options. So if you want, you just stay with your pelvis high up on the bolster, your hands where they are, and stretch out your legs. Okay, so just make sure there's no pressure in the lower back. Okay, so this is one option, legs apart, so really lazy sort of movement. If this is not comfortable, of course, take out the bolster and then just lie flat on the ground. Okay, but wherever you are, keep your hands here, so the thumbs in the navel and the hands facing down, the fingertips touching, all the other fingers are together, and underneath the point of the little finger we have the ovaries. Sometimes seen as balls of light, and you can light them up with every breath. So we'll do one more round of Bastrika breath here, and after we've finished, I'll guide you through it. You're going to take it, on the last breath, you take a deep inhale. You're going to keep the inhale inside, and then on the exhale you're going to send, if you wish, this light energy into the tips of the little fingers and the ovaries below. Okay, so we'll start together. Deep inhale, and then inhale all the way, hold your breath, and then on the exhale, let the light energy go all the way down into your ovaries. Okay, one last time. So let your belly really move with the breath, like it bellows. Deep inhale, hold your breath, and then exhale light into the ovaries. And then very gently place your feet on the ground. Remove the bolster just by lifting your hips and sliding it away from underneath you. Let the pelvis relax on the ground, and then bring your knees over to one side, and we're gently going to move up into a seated position. And this next, and possibly also the last posture for today, I invite you to extend your legs out to the side. Okay, so it's called dragonfly. You might want to have your bolster in front of you, maybe an extra cushion, a Okay, you could even use the edge of the couch if that feels better for you, okay, or a chair. Okay, so you could be even higher up. And the idea is the same as we had beforehand, that we're going to move forward. But first of all, make sure your legs are outstretched. Now, if you feel that you can't really stretch your legs and it's painful, you can always put a block under each knee. Okay, that's a possibility. Okay, but otherwise, we just keep the legs outstretched. And before coming forward, just again sense the base of your body. Okay, so this gentle movement outwards and inwards. And then very gently move forward. Find a comfortable position where you're going to stay without discomfort. So you might want to cover your back and around your kidneys with a blanket. Make sure the body's really, really warm. And then find any forward position with a rounded back that feels comfortable to you. Okay, so it's not about going far, but it's more about staying and be able to stay with whatever happens. So and then let your feet, they'll probably fall in towards the center, then just let them fall. So there's no demand at all on the posture. We want to allow our bodies to recreate the order, to activate and cleanse the hormonal systems. At the same time, with energetic activation, they also recreate their own order so they can be balanced out again. Make sure your tongue is relaxed. So let your tongue really, really relaxed. And stay aware with any sensations you might have in and around the pelvic floor. So it could be a pulsation, could be warmth. Okay, just stay with that. Here we're also connecting to our sense of self, rootedness, sense of self, relationship to self. Can I love myself as much as I love other people often, as unconditionally as I may love my child? As I may love my pet, my siblings. And allow the whole body to drop. We're coming into the stillness of the bones. And using Shoshin, beginner's mind, to filter anything we perceive. the more we allow ourselves to drop into stillness, the heightened our perceptions will be. Just stay with any sensation you may have. Observe it. Beginner's mind. And then very, very gently push yourself up. So really use your hands, so no muscular effort. Really, really gently. Come back up. Take a moment just to let the body reorient itself when you're sitting up. And then we're going to move down into Shavasana, so the final relaxation. And make sure you're super, super warm. And then if you have a bolster, or if you have a meditation cushion, something that weighs a little bit, I invite you to lay this over the pelvis before you put your blanket over you. So lay this here on the pelvis. Okay, you could even lay two. So something that's really weighted. And then hands out by your side, body is super comfortable. And we stay here. Letting your body sink into the earth. Letting gravity draw you to the heart of the world. And your tongue relaxes especially. Your upper palate moves through the back of your head into the ground. All the muscles melt away. To enter into spaciousness, emptiness. And on each inhale you can drink from the light that surrounds us, from the cosmic light. light to enter and move down the whole length of your spine, all the way down to the tailbone. As the spine relaxes and all the energetic centers along the spine, so does the rest of the body relax completely. As we take up our space of deep peace, of light beings, each inhale drawing the light all the way down your spine. And the exhale spreading that light around tailbone, the ovaries, whole of the pelvis. So you're very welcome to stay lying down if you wish, as long as you like. Take as much time as you like. And I say thank you again for joining me this evening. I wish you a wonderful, wonderful evening. I look forward to seeing you soon. Good night.